Hello and welcome to Narayana IAS Academy. Today we are going to deal with some of the most important articles from The Hindu and Indian Express as part of our daily news analysis. And here we are going to deal them in a very comprehensive manner. We'll take up everything that is relevant for the examination. Now before we start, I have a quote for you. A little progress each day adds up to big results. Now we have a habit of checking the results every single day. We take one action, we expect the result on the same day. Things do not work this way. You take some steps every single day, you work hard every single day, that keeps on adding, and after a while, when it gets saturated, when the amount of efforts gets saturated to the extent where you can get results, that day you will see the results. Okay, so just keep on doing your work, keep on focusing on this little progress every single day. Okay, now with this, let's move ahead. We have the course details regarding the 1 year as well as 2 year course of Narayana IAS Academy. Now see the four topics that we have picked up today. The first one, this one is related to India's air defense system. Now since this India-Pakistan escalation that has taken place, this air defense system is in news continuously. And specifically, there's something called a command system, or there's a name called IACCS, which is nowadays in news. So you should have a brief idea about this IACCS system. What is it exactly? What is its role in India's air defense system? That is the part we are going to deal with. The second article, a death that spotlights irrigation problems. Now, this is an important issue, and this is a very emotional issue for us. We have our farmers who are working day and night, and when we see that in India we have many farmers who are not getting any substantial benefit out of their agriculture, rather they are suffering from some crisis. So in India, in our agriculture sector, there are some entrenched issues that we need to deal with. Specifically, this is related to the irrigation problem. Okay, so this we will deal with, and this is very important for your mains examination. The third article is about PM Shri scheme. Now recently Kerala government has said that central government is showing a bias towards Kerala, because when some kind of funding has to be provided under some centrally sponsored schemes, the Kerala government is not getting the funds from the central government. So this is a concern for India's federal architecture, or what we call as center state federal relations. Then the fourth article, India notifies WTO of plan to impose retaliatory tariffs on United States imports. So we all know Trump has made headlines with putting tariffs on many countries. India is part of it. Obviously, they have put a really good number of tariffs on India, and now India is saying we are going to retaliate. We are going to retaliate, but we are going to do this under the WTO rules. We are not going against WTO rules. Now, this is something interesting that we will study over here. Okay, so these are the four articles, and now we'll get into the details of each and every article. Okay, now see, the first article is about India's air defense system. Okay, I said air defense system and this IACCS. This is something we need to study because this is very important for India's security. Now, this kind of a system, when we talk about air defense system, it actually helps us to protect our skies from any kind of attack from our enemy side. And this topic is important for the prelims, wherein you need to know air defense system, IACCS, IAI Harop. And for the mains part, you need to have a brief idea about India's security challenges. Okay, give me just 1 second. Okay, so you see, this topic is highly important. You can understand this with the previous year question. You see, how is S-400 air defense system technically superior to any other system presently available in the world? Now, the year 2021, now in this year, S-400 was in news, and exactly on the same year's mains paper, UPSC has asked a direct question. Now, this is a direct question, and they're asking about the technical details of S-400, right? So you can understand the importance of our air defense system for pre as well as mains, right? Now, what is happening? Why we are exactly studying about? Now, in recent years, we have observed that India has bought and India has used powerful air defense systems. Now, this S-400, which we saw in this previous year question, that is also part of a part of India's air defense system. Now, that we bought from Russia. Then we have IAI Harop. Now, these are drones which we have taken from Israel, right? And we have also made our own made in India products such as Akash missile, QRSAM. All these are part of India's air defense system. And what we did with these, recently we used these systems against Pakistan. Even the news says that India has targeted the air defense system of Pakistan at different locations. So it's very clear that India is working on its defense part. We are improving our defense part, that too in a very serious manner. And here, the center of all this air defense system is what we call as IACCS. Okay, this is something very important. Now we'll understand what is it, why it matters exactly. First of all, understand what do we mean by air defense system. Okay, so when we use this term air defense system, so these are the systems that are going to protect India's airspace. So see, this is India's territory part. Okay, the land part which we see. Now above this land part, whatever air part is there, from where any aircraft is moving, let's say any drone is moving, anything. Now this airspace has to be protected. And what this air defense system is going to do is it is going to watch the entire sky continuously. It is going to scan the entire sky continuously. And let's say they observe any plane or any aircraft, any missile, any drone which is coming from Pakistan or China or any enemy country, which has not taken any permission from our side, then in that case this air defense system will become active. It is going to take some action. So what action it can take? So it can just locate that particular drone. It can shoot it down before it causes any damage. So let's say any drone is coming from Pakistan. It is in the air itself. Now after some time it is going to reach to let's say Amritsar, and it is going to attack one place. Now before it reaches to that location, this drone can be destroyed in the air itself. That's the process which will be followed by air defense system. Okay. Now this will be done in three different stages. One is called detection, second is called tracking and command control, third is called interception. Now please understand what do we mean by these words. Detection, that means you're going to detect any any drone, anything that is something called suspicious. So what happens is we have got some radars, we have got some satellites, we have got some cameras, we have got some sensors. Now all these devices together, they're continuously scanning the airspace. And all these tools, when they work together, we get a lot of information. What is happening in the sky, we get to know. So in case there is something unusual that is happening in the airspace, that will be spotted, that will be detected. So this is the process of detection. Okay, so you have detected that something unusual has entered our airspace. Now comes the part of tracking and command control. Tracking, you have to track that object. Let's say that object started moving like this, it's moving. So you're tracking its location in real time. Where is it moving right now? You'll continuously understand what is its path. Is it fast? Is it dangerous? Where it is exactly going? Now, with this trajectory part, you'll understand that yes, here it will reach after some time, let's say after 1 hour, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, right? And all this will be done by our control center. So we have got a control center which studies all these questions, and this control center is going to make use of technology like artificial intelligence. So you see, when a drone, any missile is coming, we cannot take any action manually because you don't have enough time. You need systems which are very fast. And when you involve artificial intelligence in such command systems or command centers, they're going to take decisions in a very fast manner. Okay, so that's how this command center or command control is going to work. It will understand everything, what is happening, where this missile is leading, everything. Now comes the third and the most important step, that is interception. Interception. So whatever object that is coming, that has entered our airspace, if that object is a threat for us, okay, let's say it's a missile, we got to know it's a missile, it is going to hit Delhi or whatever. Now our system, what it will do, it is going to send a missile or a drone. This missile is going up and it is going to destroy that object in the mid-air, in the air itself. So what will happen? That missile which was coming will not hit our city. That missile will be destroyed in the air itself. So this is something we call as interception. We have intercepted that missile. We have destroyed it already. So the danger is stopped before it hits our cities or before it hits our army bases. Okay. So all these three stages are part of our air defense system. See, we are using the term air defense system. It's a system. So all these things are components of it. Any radar, any satellite, all these are parts of it. Any missile that you are sending, that is also a part of it. So it's a complete system in itself. Okay. Now what do we mean by this? IACCS, Integrated Air Command and Control System, in short IACCS. Now you can think of this system as a kind of a brain of our air defense system. So let's assume your body is your air defense system, then CS is your brain. So whatever you observe in the air defense system happening, we have got so many tools. We've got radar, satellite, missiles, jets, all these things. So all these defense tools, they are connected. They are connected through this IACCS system. It is going to collect data from each and every tool, and it is going to show us a kind of digital map. Okay, so this IACCS, it is going to tell us where this threat is actually coming from, where is it located right now, what to do about this thing. Everything will be told. And this information, whatever is coming from this IACCS, it is going to help our army, it's going to help our navy, air force. They can talk to each other very quickly in this system, and it's going to give real-time orders. Let's say you're launching a missile or you're sending a fighter jet. Those real-time orders will be provided over here. I can say this one thing, if there is no IACCS kind of a system, our defense system would become very slow, it would be very much confused. Because of this system, we are taking decisions in a very fast manner. Okay, so we have IACCS, and that's why all the system is working together as a strong team. We have got so many devices. All these devices will work together like a strong team because of this brain, because of this IACCS. Clear? Now, if you have a look at India's air defense system, when we talk about entire system, at least we should have a brief idea about some components of it. For example, we have this Akash missile system. Now this is made in India product. This Akash missile is capable of shooting down any enemy plane, any enemy missile. Then we have got this QRSAM, quick reaction surface to air missile. Now this is also built by India. Okay, this is made by our DRDO. This is also very famous. It is going to protect our tanks. If there is any vehicle which is moving, that vehicle can be protected. Okay. Then we have this Barak 8 missile system that is made by India and Israel, and it is used by India's Navy, India's Air Force. Then we have S-400 Triumph air defense system, very famous. Anyone would tell that this is coming from Russia, and this is very famous. This is very good. It has shown a very good performance, and it can destroy missiles and even the stealth aircrafts. Right? Then we have this Prithvi air defense system, or Prithvi and advanced air defense system, that is going to stop enemy missiles in the high in the sky. Okay. Then there's something else, surface to air Python and Derby system. This is coming from Israel, and this Israel Aerospace Industries Harop drone. Now this is something I was talking about. Harop drone. Now you should know this name because recently when India was firing against Pakistan, we have made use of this IAI Harop drone, which we have taken from Israel. Now this is very interesting weapon, or a very interesting kind of a drone, I can say. We should know about it. We call it loitering munition. This IAI Harop is also known as a loitering munition. Now, what do we mean by it? So it's a kind of new weapon wherein we are making a drone, but this drone is also acting like a missile. So actually what it does, it is flying in the sky. So let's say there is an enemy stuff over here. It's going to fly around. It's going to wait and watch whatever things are happening. It's going to observe, and when it finds an enemy radar or any system, it is going to attack it directly. Okay, so India has actually recently used this Harop drone system to destroy this air defense system of Pakistan. So it's like we are playing very smartly, and we are destroying their air defense system so that we can attack without any worry. Okay, and you don't even need any pilot over here. The system is working automatically, and this system also avoids the radar signals, so you cannot even track it. It's actually hidden from all these radar systems, right? So this is some kind of what we can say is a leading to surprise attack against the other countries, and it's going to destroy the enemy defense system in the air before they can even think of attacking us, right? So very interesting, I would say. Now, if I talk about the importance in India's strategic context when we talk about air defense system, so see, India has got two neighbors, Pakistan and China, and both of them are very hostile towards India. So we have tensions. We are worried about the two-front war, and we have tensions at our western borders, Punjab and Rajasthan region, Kashmir region, in the eastern borders also, Sikkim region, Arunachal Pradesh region. So when we talk about air defense system, it is going to help us keep all these areas very safe. It also gives us a kind of deterrence. See, enemies will think twice before attacking us because they know that we have got air defense system, right? Because they know we can shoot their missiles down at any point of time. Okay, and it's not like there are only missiles in our air defense system. Thinking about missiles only would not be the right way to look at any air defense system. It is going to include cyber systems, satellites, AI, communication networks. So we need all of them to stay ready and stay alert, right? But yes, there are some challenges which we cannot just get rid of. For example, when we are buying systems like S400, they're very costly, they're very expensive. It's going to cost us billions of dollars, right? And the threats are actually changing with time. Even if you have made any kind of air defense system, there's a possibility that the enemy will come up with a missile which has got hypersonic technology or stealth technology. Then what will you do? Because hypersonic missile, the speed is more than 5 times of the speed of sound, Mach 5, or it has got stealth technology. You can't even detect this missile. Now, what's the use of your air defense system, right? So we have to actually update our technology very often, continuously. And one more challenge that might come up is about the teamwork, because we've got Air Force, Army, Navy, they work independently and they work together also. But they have to work together if we have to work with this air defense system. We can't run away from this point. And that takes some good planning and fast communication between all these organs. So if you ask me what can be the solution, so India is already working on solutions. We're making more systems at home, like the Akash system, this new version of QRSM, all these things. We're creating better command structures, like there's something called theater command system, on which India is already working. Theater commands, right? So what we have done is, instead of having battalions of army, we are bringing army people, navy people, and air force people together, and we are making theater commands. So this is something very interesting for the coordination among all these forces. And we are also investing in artificial intelligence, satellites, and the faster warning or early warning systems. So if we keep improving, I can definitely say India will stay strong and ready for any kind of threat that will come in future. That's all. That's all about this article number 1. Let me check if we have any doubts. No? Very good. So, now moving ahead, we have the second article, a death that spotlights irrigation problems. So, we are going to talk about one serious and emotional topic, which is about water. It's about the farming part, and it's about a tragic loss that we have seen very recently. This is important for prelims as well as mains. You can read this previous year question asked in the year 2017 from this agriculture segment. Okay, please read. I'll give you a few seconds to read. Done? Now see, what is happening in this particular issue? What has recently taken place? On March 13, 2025, there's a young award winner farmer from Maharashtra. His name was Kailash Arjun Nagre. He committed suicide. He had won this young farmer award in the year 2020, and he was known for his hard work and success. But even this person could not survive the struggle for water. And his death shows that India's irrigation system is in a deep trouble. Why? If we talk about this person, Kailash, his death is not about a personal tragedy. If you look at it as a personal tragedy, then you're moving in the wrong direction. It's a warning sign that even a successful farmer in India is suffering due to some kind of irrigation related problem. And this shows that our water problems are very deep, very widespread. And it's not just about technology, it's actually about India's policies, the fairness, the governance part. What are the problems if I have to discuss in detail? First problem, over dependence on water intensive agriculture. Too much water for the wrong crops. So if I have to quote down the data, India is using more than 80% of its water for farming. That's a huge amount, right? But most of this water is actually going to the crops like rice, wheat, sugarcane, and most importantly, these crops, rice, wheat, sugarcane, these crops need a lot of water. And when you need a lot of water, you should grow them in the area where you have got enough water. But we are growing these crops in those areas also where the water is scarce. Like you see Punjab, you can't get enough water supply in the region, and still you are going for it. The groundwater table is getting down continuously in Punjab and Haryana. In Maharashtra also, we have got a region called Marathwada. Now, if you are growing sugarcane in Marathwada region, how can you expect things to be smooth, things to be good for you, right? So we have data in between 2000 and 2015. India alone was responsible for 36%, 36% of the global irrigation expansion. But this is not always a good thing. We're using more water but not using it in a wise manner. That is one problem that we need to think of. Okay. Then we've got this second problem of low irrigation efficiency. In simple words, I can say we are wasting a lot of water. India's irrigation efficiency is only 38%. You compare it with developed countries, they have got 55%. So there's a difference. And why is ours so low? Because we are doing outdated farming. If you see our farming practices, these are outdated, because what we do is we go for wrong crops instead of going for the right one. And because we are very slow to adopt to these new irrigation technology like the drip irrigation, sprinkler type of system, that's where we are making our irrigation system less efficient. Then moving further, we have another problem that we call as water inequality and social injustice. You see, not everyone is getting equal amount of water. You talk about canal, you talk about tank, well, all the water from these areas, they are not shared in an equal manner. The farmers who are the big farmers, they're going to get it more. The small ones, the marginal farmers, especially if you look at the women, they're getting less amount of water. And there's also a major problem with respect to the groundwater. See, it is being documented very clearly that 75% of India's groundwater zones, they are being overused. We're pumping too much water from ground, right? And this is also causing some kind of pollution. Let's say we talk about the carbon dioxide emission, 8.1% of India's carbon dioxide emission, it is coming from this groundwater pumping. That's a lot. Just from just when we pull the water from earth, we are getting so much carbon dioxide emission, right? That's a problem. Then what about the policy part? See, one problem is the weak policy and the poor governance in India. See, there are not enough strong rules that can manage the water across the states. That's one problem. You look at the groundwater use, it is hardly regulated. And there's also a problem with the pricing of water. You go to Punjab, Tamil Nadu, in these places, we grow water hungry crops, water intensive crops. But what they do is they give very poor kind of yields. So what we are doing is we are actually wasting the water. We're not even gaining much production, much yield as such. And also many states, what they do is they go for providing subsidies. There's power subsidies which are given. Now, because of power subsidies, you will get this water. You can pump the water at a cheaper cost because the power supply, you've got decent subsidy on that. But when you give this subsidy, this leads to overuse of these pumps. Overuse leads to the wastage of water. Now, this is not a good thing. This is not a good thing. Now you may ask, sir, what can we do about it? If this is the problem, tell us some kind of solution also. There is solution. First of all, the solution lies at the policy and institutional level. There is hope. There is some hope with better policies. If we make stronger laws, if we have a broad policy with a vision to manage the water across states, then we can sort out this problem. We can grow the right crops in the right places, first thing. We can control the groundwater pumping. Don't let it go in an unregulated manner. You can use the solar pumps very carefully and not let it go for some kind of unlimited water use. So all this can be done. Think about this dimension. Then second is irrigation technology and efficiency. We can make use of the modern irrigation system. We can promote micro irrigation like the drip irrigation, sprinkler systems. You can use soil moisture sensors to know exactly when the water is actually needed to us. We can even try new methods, like we have this alternate wetting and drying system for the rice. We can make use of that. We can make use of this technology like this GIS mapping, artificial intelligence, and we can use it to plan our irrigation in a better manner. So all this is possible. Then the third is behavioral and institutional shift. We can change the way we think. We see farmers as water managers and not just users. And we have to move from the supply side to the demand side. We have to understand what is exactly needed. And we have to empower the poor farmers, the marginal farmers, women farmers. How we can empower, we can bring them in the decision making. Whenever we are taking any decision related to water or irrigation, we can bring these people. And that's how we can build our irrigation systems, make them really better. Okay, so that's all about this second article. Good. Now the third article is about this PM Shri scheme. This is important for you to prepare for the preliminary examination as well as mains, wherein we study government policies and interventions. Now you can read this previous year question asked on this Unnat Bharat Abhiyan. From this you will get an idea about the question that can be asked even on the PM Shri scheme. Please read. I'll give you a few seconds. Please read. Done? Now, what is the context? Why are we studying about this particular news? What exactly happened with respect to Kerala? So, there is some issue which involves the policy, politics, and our school system. So, what has happened recently is the state of Kerala has said that we are planning to move to the Supreme Court. And people asked why. They said this central government is not giving us 1,500 crore rupees. Now, this amount of money, it's a big amount. This amount was supposed to be given to Kerala government under centrally sponsored education schemes. Now, when we say centrally sponsored schemes, some amount center pays, some amount state pays, and that's how we try to implement some schemes. And this money was meant for some education related schemes. Now, Kerala government says center is punishing Kerala government for not adopting PM Shri scheme. Because Kerala government did not adopt PM Shri scheme, now what center is doing is they are punishing them by not providing this amount of money which they are supposed to get. This is the concern of Kerala government. They are not happy with it. Okay, what is exactly they are saying? They are saying there's a political bias. Center is being politically biased towards Kerala. It feels the center is using its power in an unfair manner, and Kerala believes this is a central overreach. That means center is actually interfering in the matters of the state. So somewhere it's an issue of federal politics, right? Now, for us, it is important to study this PM Shri scheme. When we say PM Shri, it's Pradhan Mantri Schools for Rising India scheme. Okay. Now, first of all, it's a centrally sponsored scheme which was announced in the year 2022. Now, what was the aim of this particular scheme? First thing it said, we are going to upgrade the government schools. They decided they'll take 14,500 government schools and they're going to upgrade these schools into a top quality model schools. They're going to make them really well. And these schools will show how this national education policy of 2022 is going to be followed in an ideal manner, at least in a model sphere. Now, there are going to be examples which will be set for other schools. So the nearby schools will learn from them. That was the major idea behind this PM Shri scheme. If we go into the details of this scheme, the features part. So these schools, they are going to focus on the National Education Policy or New Education Policy 2020 principles. And they're going to promote activity-based fun learning schooling. So normally we have traditional schooling method where teacher is teaching, we've got books and all these things. Here they are going to focus on the part wherein what is the outcome. They're going to focus on the outcome part. Then they're also going to use green practices like saving the energy, managing the waste, all these things. And the teaching over here will be inquiry based, very much child friendly, so that child must learn. There will be assessment also, but this assessment is going to focus on the real understanding and not just the memorization which is done in a traditional manner. And this scheme, PM Shri, it is going to run from 2022 to 2027. Central government is going to pay 60% of the cost and state is supposed to pay 40% of the cost. Now after 2027, states have to take complete responsibility. The center is not going to pay anything as such after that. Now what happened in this case is Kerala. Kerala government has not officially explained its reasons why it is not opting the scheme, why they are not going for the scheme. But experts are saying this state of Kerala, it prefers to run its own education programs. Kerala already has a very strong public education system. We have to accept that fact. And it may feel that this PM Shri gives too much control to the central government. Now, how is this all linked to other schemes if we have to think about? So there is another big scheme if you can think about it. That's called Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan, SSA. This Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan supports education from preschool to the class 12. And it actually brings together three old schemes which includes your Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan and this teacher education part. And this overall umbrella scheme, it follows this SDG 4 principles, New Education Policy 2020, and its goal is very much to bring inclusive education, equal education for all the children. Now here Kerala government says center is cutting money from this Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan and many other schemes just because Kerala government did not sign up for this PM Shri. And this is what led Kerala to approach Supreme Court right now. If you think about the larger issues in this case, so it actually raises big questions. Firstly, can the center withhold funds if a state doesn't join a scheme? Is it really possible? And second, should education decisions, they should be made centrally or they should be made on a local level? Third, are we punishing the performing states like Kerala instead of encouraging them? You need to think about all these questions. So if you look at Kerala, Kerala's move might set a legal example for the federal balance in the education policy in India. So we have to see what happens, what this Supreme Court will say in this particular case. This will be interesting to see. Okay. Now, the last article of the day. Okay. Now this article is interesting. It's a mix of economics, international trade, law. India notifies WTO of plan to impose retaliatory tariffs on US imports. Important for prelims, important for mains, GS paper 2. Now see what has happened over here. We'll understand why India has decided to impose this retaliatory tariff exactly. So what happened? Right now India has told to WTO, World Trade Organization, that India is going to impose some tariffs, retaliatory tariffs on some products. It's not like all products, some products which are coming from United States. Why? The reason is United States of United States of America has placed some tariffs, very high tariffs on India's steel products, India's aluminium exports, which are reaching to America. So if you see the tariff numbers, it's 25% on steel, 10% on aluminium, which is not so good for us. The prices of India's products are going to increase in the US market. Now India is now hitting back. Why? Because this hitting back or this retaliation is actually allowed under the international trade rules which are given by WTO. Now, first of all, those who do not know what do we mean by tariff and all, tariff is nothing but a tax on some kind of trade. So let's say you're importing something or you're exporting something. That time, if we put any kind of tax, that's a tariff. And these tariffs could be of different types. There could be different reasons also to bring some kind of tariffs. For example, we have got something like import tariff. So to protect our local producers, we might come up with this. We have export tariff also to control some kind of outflow. We don't want our onions to go out. So what we'll do is we'll put export tariffs so people will not send it to other countries. So similarly, there will be other tariffs also. One of that is this retaliatory tariff also. Okay, you can see here. Now, when we read this entire list, we come to know about one thing called retaliatory tariff. Now, this was something brought by United States of America. What are retaliatory tariffs? These are the tariffs placed in response to another country's unfair trade measures. Let's say America feels that they don't have a good trade or fair trade with India in some aspect. They'll put other tax as a retaliation to make it fair. So they are not random. They actually follow WTO rules under the agreement on safeguards. And there's one more agreement, that is dispute settlement understanding. So this might happen. Now this is retaliatory. You're retaliating, and this retaliatory tariff, it is going to help to offset the economic harm or the balance the trade part, or if we can put the pressure on other countries to change its policy towards that country. Now what will happen exactly when we talk about this retaliatory tariff? Right now we are putting it against the United States. If country A is going to tax the steel from country B, country A is your USA, country B is your India. Now country B can respond by taxing the country A because you taxed in an unfair manner, right? And it's not necessarily on the same product. We can do it on other products, right? This is what is happening. Now you see why India is doing all this. What's India's reason? First of all, there's some economic harm. The US tariffs have hurt us. For example, uh, we are getting hurt by somewhere around 7 billion, 7.6 billion US dollars worth of India's exports are being hit by US tariffs. India's exporters, they must have lost somewhere around 1.9 billion dollar US dollar amount due to these high duties, right? Second thing is there is no consultation. India is saying United States did not consult us, did not notify us before applying these high tariffs. And this kind of consultation is actually required under WTO rules. It says very clearly you should go for it. And that's why it is a violation of WTO agreements. India argues that the US used national security as an excuse. In reality, it was just a protectionist move to help its local steel industry. There's nothing called national security issue that is coming over here. And India is actually seeking a fair deal, a fair trade. When we impose this retaliatory tariff, India actually wants to rebalance the trade benefits it has lost in this tariff mechanism, and this is allowed under the article number 8 of Agreement of Safeguards of WTO. Now you may think about this dimension, wherein what kind of products are there which are allowed, which are actually targeted. So if you see the numbers, if we go through all these trade related data, you'll get to know about all these things. So there are numbers given which products are getting affected. All these data are actually available. If I can show you over here, So look at this. India's total export to USA, India's total import from USA. You can see the products that we are exporting, the products that we are importing. So here you see the products we are exporting, those products are vulnerable to US tariffs. And the products that we import, those will be vulnerable to the retaliatory tariff that we are going to put on USA, that we need to think of. Okay, so that's all about this particular topic. Okay, now the time for some practice questions. So this is the mains question. Discuss the strategic significance of air defense system like S-400 and IAI Harop in strengthening India's national security. Highlight key challenges in their deployment. I'll give you a few seconds. Please brainstorm what can be written in this particular question as an answer. Think about it. Anyway, I'll tell the answer. Done? So what we can write in this question specifically? You can first start with the air defense system part. You can mention the examples also like this IAI Harop, S-400. You can talk about the importance of this air defense system. After that, you can start with the strategic significance part, because in the question they have directly asked about strategic significance. So you can talk about, you can, it can make us feel a bit safer, it can create some deterrence, there will be precision offense, hybrid warfare readiness, etc. There will be challenges, high cost, technological dependence, etc. Just a second. Yeah. Then in the conclusion, we can just give some optimistic conclusion that India must boost its indigenous R&D, we must strengthen our command integration, invest in the space-based early warning system, etc. Another main question that we have is suicide of a national award-winning farmer due to unresolved irrigation demands highlights deeper systemic issues in India's water governance. Now, what they have asked specifically is structural challenges in India's irrigation sector, and they asked us to suggest a multi-pronged strategy for sustainable and equitable irrigation reform. So you have to tell the challenges and solutions both. So just introduce with any story or any basic example showing the deeper systemic issues in India's irrigation problem. Now jot down all the challenges: over dependence on water guzzling crops, low irrigation efficiency, water inequity, all these things. And then talk about the way forward, wherein focus on the policy part. So policy reform, technological solutions, institutional shift, all these things can be mentioned. This is how we can close this particular answer. Now, if we look at the questions which are part of the DNA from yesterday, so this question, I'll just tell you the answers. For this one, International Maritime Organization's IMO net zero framework for shipping emissions. It manages carbon neutrality in international trade shipping by 2030. No, it's 2050. India's proposal influenced the final compromise adopted by IMO. Yes. Framework operates under Marpol Convention. Yes. All shipping vessels, including this, are covered under MBM. No, no. This coastal ship doesn't come under this. Second and third B is the right answer. Then, with reference to article A Revolution on Clean Energy, consider the following statements. So, free power, these have contributed to environmental degradation in India's agriculture sector. Okay, that is true. Article suggests India's current agricultural practices are sustainable and environmental friendly. No, it didn't say as such thing. Article emphasizes need for drastic steps to restore health of our planet. That's true. That's very obvious. So 1 and 3. So C is the right answer. Then this is a bit technical question. You see, this part was right, and this Jal Jeevan mission was right. 1 and 3 is the right answer. And here about the plastic waste. More than 80% of the waste found in a recent study was from multi-use plastic packaging. No, this is not true. Major FMCG brands, they were among the top contributors. That's true. India has banned all forms of plastic food packaging. No, not all. Wrong. So second, that is B is the right answer. Now these are the practice questions from today's articles which you have to attempt. So just go for the link provided in the description box. Click on the link, you'll get the question, attempt it, you'll get the answer also. Otherwise, tomorrow, anyway, I'm going to give you answer, or anyone who will be taking up the daily news analysis will tell you the answer. So first, on this PM Shri scheme, you can pause the screen and answer. Second, which of the following statements regarding India-US trade relations is correct? Please attempt, right? So this is how we conclude our daily news analysis session for today. We'll meet in the next session. Till that time, thank you so much for watching. We'll meet in the next session. Let's wait for the next session. Thank you.